I want to take a moment to let you know that I do have a Patreon. You can be a $3 a month, $5 or $10 a month member. $5 and $10 members get all my videos without ads and an audio version if you like to listen while you're multitasking, working, or whatever. $10 members actually get a free copy of my first book, Rational Answers to Stupid Questions. Link is in the description. Enjoy the video.
Things like evolution is the observation of how things work, but not why. They never observe why. They can't answer why. They just observe how.
Don't you run into issues?
We know why evolution happens, not in a teleological sense.
No, you know how it works. You don't know why it works.
I guess I don't know what you mean by that. So what do you mean by that? Why are organisms capable of evolving? Is that what you're asking?
So what I mean exactly by this is you can measure using science, and you're a very capable man of this, much smarter than I am. You can measure and observe how adaptations work. Right? You can see it, you can observe it, you can watch it, you can then learn and go, that's why, that's how this works. But you can never say why.
Yeah, but what do you, I don't know what you mean by why, because I think, based on what you just said, I think we actually do know why.
Yeah, go on.
Because of random mutations, genetic drift, recombination, plenty of things. We know how the DNA changes and what sorts of influences can change the genetic composition of a population. So that would be why. But maybe that's not what you mean.
No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is why is the mathematical because it's so congregated. It's so precise in how it all works.
No, it's incredibly wasteful.
No. I mean, what did that? I mean, why? You can observe
chemistry.
How. Yeah, which is what I mean. You can observe how, but you can't observe why. Why did it start like that?
Again,
Accident?
Okay, so does literally all of this go back? This is what happens all the time when I argue with people about things like this. They're like, well, science can't tell us how or why blank out. And then I explain, well, yes, it can.
No, I can tell you how.
And then it always goes back to, yeah, well, you don't know where the universe came from. So is that what you mean by we don't know why evolution happens? We don't know where the universe came from?
Well, I'm not being dismissive, but I totally understand and appreciate the scientific method. Right? The scientific method is observation. You can, evolution is the observation of adaptation. We can do that. We have done that, and it's wonderful. And we have fields that work marvelous.
Such thing as adaptation.
However,
yeah, go on.
Yeah, science can never answer why. Why
you keep saying that? I don't know what you mean by that.
Are you
because you don't have an answer. Because the missing link, my friend, is God.
The missing link is God. The missing link is Homo heidelbergensis.
No, that's an observation of how, not why.
But are you asking for the purpose of life essentially right now? And if so, why does there have to be a purpose?
I have no idea what the hell you're even trying to ask.
I'm asking why, not how.
Okay,
you can explain to me how things work. I agree with how things work. I'm not disputing any of that. I'm asking the purpose for it.
What if there is no purpose?
Well, it's just a happy accident, is it?
It's not a happy accident. Things happen for a reason, but not for a purpose. Like the ball falls to the ground. I can explain to you mathematically how that happens. I can also explain to you scientifically why that happens. I could invoke general relativity if I wanted. There, I have the answer. And then,
sure.
But does that tell you what's going to happen after you die? No. Does that tell you where the universe came from? No. But that's not what we're talking about. So for evolution, I don't get what unanswered question evolution I don't get what questions evolution doesn't answer that you're like saying is like a weakness or a problem or something for it.
Nor am I asking you for that. Right? I actually agree with all the scientific method. Right? I might be a bit of a Bible basher because I agree with the word and the morals and the stuff like that. However, I do recognise that there's allegory in there. Right? I understand this. I'm not stupid.
Oh.
Whilst I recognise because scientific method is the observation of things over and over again that happen the same way, then you come to a theory and you go, right, this is how it happens because it constantly happens this way, right? That's how you test things. But that tells you how things happen. It doesn't tell you why things happen. So, for example, your DNA is so coded so precisely. You have a fingerprint that no one else in the world has ever had.
So?
Right? So what? So that's
and no two snowflakes are
meaningless.
Snowflakes are exactly alike. Does that mean that Frosty the Snowman was God's prophet? No.
No. It means that I experienced the beauty of God's creation and what I can't understand because God exists outside.
You skipped all of the steps to get to God in that argument. Human DNA is complex.
I'm genuinely trying to understand what you mean.
Same, bestie. Okay, do you think that... Okay, let me ask...
I'm trying to understand, not how, I'm trying to understand why, which science can't ever explain.
That fine. If you... But I still don't even know what you mean by that. If you mean what's the point of it all, then I agree that science is not prescriptive. It is descriptive. But there's nothing wrong with that, I would say.
Right, but you must concede that science describes how very well, and I agree with all of it. But it doesn't mean that faith and science are in opposition. They actually should work together because there's one question that neither of them can answer fundamentally, and that is not how, which you can do, but
Wait,
why.
let me take a guess at it. Damn it! I was going to guess that you were going to say that.
But why? Yeah, but no one's been able to answer me why.
What?
You can't.
Well, here's my
stuff to me and go, this is how it works. Of course, I understand how it works, but tell me why it works.
Well, I have a question. Why should we concern ourselves with that at all?
Because I think it's the foundation and the fundamental question that most human beings have. Why are we here?
Good answer, I guess.
See, I'm not a religious nut. I like science. I appreciate what you do. But there's... I feel like science and faith, they battle each other, whereas I think they can sort of intercede. I don't think they have to be in rebellion of each other.
Again, I already said this. I think they can coexist, but I don't think that they reinforce each other really in any way.
And I think you run into issues if you try to do that, because let's say that you do try to tie science and religion, together somehow, and you say, oh, well, it's true. We figured out all these things. Let's say the Big Bang and people trying to tie, God separated the heavens from the earth and expanded it, whatever. I think that's in the Quran. Okay, let's say that we find something 100 years down the road that proves the Big Bang wrong. Everything we know now is incorrect. Well, that also throws that religion out the window too. If we tie them together, you run into that problem. Religion is supposed to be a faith-based thing. It doesn't make sense to tie it to science doesn't work in absolutes.
Sure, I understand what you mean. We can talk in sort of platitudes and stuff like that. But if for example there was something to come out that was science based that totally went against my faith, I would concede.
I'm trying to get
That,
it. This is what that JD guy said. Yeah, I would have no problem with you killing my entire family. JD, somebody made an inspirational quote out of it, and so I was
for laughing over you.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to get it to pop up, but it wasn't. But when I do it this way, it cuts off a little bit. Well, he said it. And if I do it, yeah, it's in my Discord.
Dude, that is beautiful. You got on that quick.
Yeah, shout out to Prophet Blue for making this, or the Inquisitor Prophet Blue. My bad.
That's great.
What's that? What's that quote? Does that come? That's
That
not
was
a
the
Bible
guest
quote,
right
is it?
before you.
I asked the guest that
The
came
guy
up
who was in
before
here
you.
right before you joined, he said that.
Oh yeah, I wasn't keen on that fella. He claimed to be a Christian. That's not really how we conduct ourselves.
You know, he definitely wasn't a Christian, but he was absolutely an alpha.
He was an alpha Christian.
Yeah. That quote. Yeah,
well, that's not in the teachings of Christ. We don't conduct ourselves like that. I don't think he represented our faith very well by doing that. But honestly, right? Listen, I'm not trying to have like a massive argument here or anything. I do believe in science. I recognise it, and I recognise the great work that has been done. Like I said earlier, that the entire scientific community has always been the observation of adaptation, but never how. How, just never why.
Yeah,
Why do these laws of physics exist? Why are they so particular in the way that they work? If they were like 1% out, none of this would exist. It's so particular. It's not about how, it's about why. And that's what both parties can't answer. I would say the missing link there is God.
Okay, well, that's like unironically a God of the gaps argument, which is fine with me. I mean, I don't know. Science. There have been all kinds of things that people have claimed historically science can't answer why, and then like science does figure it out, and then the God explanation just retreats farther back into something else, which nowadays is just like, why is universe? I don't know. Ha ha! Gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to look for a got you moment. I'm trying to look for the answers. So if there was an answer where you could totally concede and I would have to concede and go, right, they've got the answer as to why, not just how, I would draw back and that'd be that. But that's never, ever happened. Therefore, that missing link, I feel, is God. And no one can tell me otherwise until they disprove it.
Well, I don't want to play with you anymore then.